Hi, everyone. I'm here today to give you the point of view of hardware vendor about how we see everything, how we see the security, how we see the security chain, the problems we face, the problems we know that all our customers are facing, and also the answers we give to that questions you may be probably making yourselves. So the first thing is to say that HP security brand is, as you can see there, HP World Security. We are so concerned about security that we build our own security branding. And we are thinking about security in three different stages that we are going to see today through this presentation. The first thing is give some context to all this, give some information and some data. Something to keep in mind about, for example, things we see is that we have been seeing the increase of firmware attacks. Firmware attacks are common, but are also the most hard attacks to combat because they don't attack our software, which is from our point of view the most easy attack to defend. But they attack our hardware, so they usually use our vulnerabilities, and all the time this kind of vulnerabilities are unknown for us. So this is the reason it's a very hard kind of attack or threat to be defending. Of course, you will be aware that the rise of ransomware is a reality, and of course the evolution of malware. We are in a race. We have two competitors. One it is malware, one it is the rest of us, and we are not all the time winning this race. So this is a thing to have in mind. As you can see, the first data in the blue circle, 94% of cyber attacks start with an email, with something as simple as an email. So keep this idea in mind, and because we think that we need to focus in content, we need to focus in easy things like emails, just to be prepared to combat this kind of threats and attacks. Another thing is, and the most important question of this whole presentation maybe could be, again, the one in the blue circle. How long will you need to recover 1,000 machines? I don't know if you have this in mind, if you have made yourself this kind of questions. I'm sure that one time or another, maybe you could be answering or asking yourself this question. But the reality is that, what we see every day in our customers is that they are not so prepared for this kind of operations. There you can see some data, some numbers, some context. Maybe the source, when you say that White House is the source of this, maybe the volume or the size is not the size we are seeing every day, but $10 billion recovering for just one attack. One attack, of course, this is worldwide, but $10 billion is an amount to have in mind, to be concerned about. And of course, 4 or 7% of your enterprise income before taxing could be losing if you have this kind of attacks. Maybe it's something to be concerned about, of course. Okay. And this is the kind of threats we are facing. We are facing difficult to detect threats. We are facing hard to remove threats, and that looks for the contents of our endpoints, of our PCs, and they are persistent. So the thing is that having this in mind, how we offer or how we say we should be combating this kind of threats. The first part of that is having some protections or some tools below the operative system. When we think about security environment, we should think about different parts. We should think about different layers So below the operating system is something we were very concerned about, because at one point, as a hardware vendor, we thought we should be different from the rest. So what we could do some years ago to be different from the rest of hardware vendors you all may know. Well, the idea we had is to be different, being the most secure of all the hardware vendors. And we build technologies below the operating systems, very linked to our hardware, to give extra security to all of our customers. I have 3 examples. I'm going to be fast, but just to have in mind the kind of solutions we are offering. The first thing is when we wanted to differentiate ourselves like the most secure vendor, the most secure hardware vendor, was to build an HP endpoint security controller. This is a technology that only HP laptops or HP desktops should have. This is something unique, and this is something we use to have in our devices and to have, for example, these 3 technologies you are seeing on the bottom. Having this security controller, we can be sure that nothing outside the device could affect that kind of security we are providing with this security controller. This is an independent chip. This is on the motherboard, and this is only accessible from the chip itself. You cannot access the information or the application it contains from outside the device. So anything that it will contain, any kind of tool it will have that help us to be more secure, is isolated and is safe. So what kind of technologies we can provide using this security controller? Okay, for example, we have HP Sure Start, which protect the device BIOS. I was talking at the beginning about firmware attacks. This kind of attacks have the BIOS as their target. So this is a tool for self-healing our BIOS. Once it detects that something is trying to make any change into the BIOS, it will automatically reload a stable version of the BIOS, and avoiding, of course, all kinds of attacks. The next one should be HP Sure Run, which protects processes. You have key processes in your device. You should protect them using Sure Run, because if you have any attack trying to access these processes, trying to cut the execution of these processes, they will be protected, and you will be having these processes up and running all the time, independently that you have maybe an attack, or even if you have a user trying to close or to cut that process, you could be sure, you could have peace of mind that those key processes will be up and running all the time. As you can see, there is also persistence. Okay? The last one, but not the only one, is HP Sure Recover. Here you can see again the question about how long will you need to recover 1,000 machines. Well, for us, it's easy to give an answer to this question, because we have measured about this, and using this technology, we can recover a machine in less than 10 minutes, for example. So once you have an attack, even we don't want that, but if you have that situation, you can automatically use HP Sure Recover to recover your device, recover it quickly, as fast as possible, in minutes, and your business could continue. No? You are not having stop time so long. So at the beginning we saw how much money are you losing. You are not having a downtime long enough, so you can continue working. Okay. Well, we were talking about things we were doing below the OS. Let's see something we can do on the OS. Huh? And this is Wolf Enterprise Security. This is a solution not only for HP devices. This is for any vendor device. We can deploy this kind of solutions into any environment. We have here more numbers. We have here more context to the actual situation. I will not stop here because we are all very aware of this situation, but just keep in mind that, for example, that 80% of new attacks that are new or unknown attacks. What would happen when we have an attack that we don't know? Huh? Well, this solution is built on the zero trust premise. Huh? We don't trust anything that comes from outside of our devices. So what we say is that, well, if we don't trust in the content we have outside the device, let's isolate it. So we build a technology that could isolate any external content that comes to your device. So if that external content could have any threat, could have any potential malware or any potential issue, at the end is not affecting your device because all the time it is being isolated. It's something with a very similar idea to a sandbox, but in this case, we are having this technology, this isolation technology linked and installed into the device. So it goes with the device everywhere they go. If you are connecting your device from your company building, your office, you have the protection. If you have your device in an airport, like my case, I have the same protection. So it is independent from the network you are. It is independent from your environment. You are having this kind of protection all the time. And the good news is that it relies also in hardware resources. So it takes your own resources to build the isolation. It uses virtualization for doing this. So because of this zero trust concept and the kind of technology, you could be potentially safe all the time. This is a solution that is meant to be integrated into any environment. You could have it on-premise, you could have it on the cloud, you could have it wherever you want. We include all the deployment options you may need and all the deployment options you may need from us also. We have also another version, and I really like this slide because it shows perfectly where I'm meaning. The solution I have been talking about is HP SureClick, and what we do is to put the dangerous content inside the box, isolating it. What happens if we do more or less the same, but not really the same? What happens if we put the dangerous content outside the box? Well, this is HP SureAccess. We do the same kind of protection. We do the same kind of technology to give additional protection not only for devices but also for remote access. Sorry. We protect virtual machines. We protect connections. Just in case the thing you are not trusting is the device. What happens when, for example, an administrator connects to an end-user device to solve any problem? Well, you cannot be sure if that device is safe or not, so you protect your connection. So we have the same technology, the same isolation technology to protect connections. Okay? And the same if you have a virtual machines environment, if you don't use devices, but you use virtual machines. Okay, so these are protections not only for HP, but also for the rest of vendors. We have been watching both protections only in HP devices and protections for everyone. And the last one is HP Wolf Protect and Trace. What happens when we need to protect the content of the device? Well, these are the same kind of numbers about the actual environment, the hybrid workplace situation, and about how many times ITDMs see that they lose devices, they take care about information and content, and how concerned they are when they lose a device. So what we propose is to have a solution to let us be safe and be sure that if we lose a device, if we don't know where it is, we can look at that device. We can also erase all the content of the device and all the time remotely, of course, in a persistent way. Okay? This is HP technology also. This is an answer of this kind of situation. And this is a proposal we have for each time you acquire or you get a new device. Just check the solution, think about what happens if you lose it, and if the answer to that question is, well, it would be compromised, maybe this is the solution you may need for this kind of situations. Okay? So I wanted to show you different approaches, different layers, different solutions, just to know and to see that from our point of view, in the security chain, we need to look for and to look after the device and the user, because sometimes, or maybe most of times, they are the last of this chain. They are the part of the chain we see the last. So maybe sometimes we need to give them some love, to take care of them, and to apply these kind of solutions and not only thinking about the rest of environment. Okay, so this is more or less the vision we have. These are the solutions we offer. Of course, we have many more solutions. We can prepare ad hoc solutions for each customer. But I wanted to let you know that we are concerned about this situation. We are a company that could be differentiated for especially security, but always with the device in mind. And thank you very much for having me this afternoon.